Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today I'd like to talk about how I travel for a short business trip. Now, for me, I'm a musician, so when I go on business trips, let's say conferences and expos, it's usually to further my education and to, meet with the industry more and make connections that I've made over email or online, and actually make those connections real and meet people and talk business, whether that's working together, collaborating together, or even potentially setting up some kind of projects that we can work on. So things like that, or even just saying hi and meeting the community and all congregating together at certain places. So I think this will apply to literally anyone who has to travel for any type of business reason for a short trip. So that means 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 days. Anything more than that, some of the information obviously will be helpful, but not as helpful. This is something maybe like a Friday to Monday kind of idea. Okay, so let's start with the packing. You want to always pack light. Always pack the minimum that you need. Don't overpack. Don't get 5 pairs of shoes. Don't do extra coats, extra jackets. Try to keep it as light as possible. One thing I do is I usually bring 2 pairs of shoes that I can wear at the events I'm going to, and then I have an extra pair of shoes for like running, working out, like an athletic shoe. So like 2 kind of dressy shoes and then 1 like athletic shoe, and that's what I go with to give you kind of context for that. Couple pairs of jeans, handful of shirts, a couple shirts to wear, like your pajamas, whatever. Keep it real bare. Don't bring too much just in case clothes. Don't bring too much extra options. You want to keep it as short as possible. Now when it comes to packing, it depends. How you want to pack is going to depend on the kind of flight you're taking and how luggage is. So let's kind of start talking about flights here. So for flights, the cheapest option pretty much all the time is Spirit. Now Spirit can be good, but Spirit can also, it comes with some asterisks. They charge a lot of extra fees for having, they pretty much, they start at a lower price, but the consequence of that is they upcharge you for like everything else. If you want drinks, they're a little bit more expensive. If you want extra luggage, it's more expensive. Pretty much anything you can think of they can charge you, they do charge you extra. But if you're going on a short trip and all you have is, let's say, a book bag or a very small personal bag, and I think a small, rolly cart bag would apply. You can check the measurements online, make sure. If you have that, you're okay. So I think if you're literally just going for a weekend, Spirit is a very good option because you should be able to pack everything into a small bag and be okay. And that's why being able to pack intelligently and correctly is key. If you do that, Spirit's an option. Now, if you don't want to take Spirit, if you're not interested in that, then the other options are, the big names: United, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines. There's a few other ones, Frontier. There's different options. So it depends on where you're going. Prices always fluctuate. One thing for flights, especially if you have an event, let's say you already know it's always in October, it's always in July, it's always in April. A lot of these expos and conferences happen on a yearly basis. So one good thing is join the Hopper app. So just download Hopper. It's free. It's a free app, and all it does is it tracks the prices of flights throughout the year, the entire year. So just set where you're going, where you want to go, and the dates, and it'll show you this is the average price. This is what the price of the lowest flight is now, and this is it's estimated based on projections, based on the data. It's gonna go up for the next 3 months, or it's gonna go down, or right now it's gonna if you wait, it'll drop $20. If you need a book now because it's going to go up 50. It's a really helpful app. It lets you know what the prices are, lets you know how to navigate the price inflation. And if you can wait, especially if you need a last minute ticket, it's not really helpful. But if you already know, 6 months in advance, you're taking that flight and you need to buy it, join the Hopper app. Make sure you're looking at those flights so you can get a good deal. Okay, so now that we've talked about packing, talked a little about flights, let's talk about what we do at the airport. So again, I think airports say you should be 2 hours ahead. Be at at the airport 2 hours prior to your flight. I think that's a little high. Don't have to be 2 hours, but if you're a person who gets very worried, gets very nervous, I say, go ahead and be there the 2 hours already. I think an hour and a half is more than enough. And honestly, an hour is probably fine. But if you don't fly too often, if it's an airport you're not very familiar with, and it can be very complicated understanding where you need to be, go ahead and give yourself the peace of mind. Get there early. Take the Uber if you need to. Take public transportation if that's convenient for you. But again, we want to make sure, especially these are all the extracurricular things. Remember, when we travel for business, we travel for business. That's the point, is to be prepared to do business. So you want everything else to kind of go smooth, to kind of be calm and not be a stressful situation. So if that's going to stress you out, maybe missing your gate, cutting it close, go ahead, get there 2 hours early. You'll be totally fine. As far as food and eating and being on the plane, for me personally, I like to, again, want to be comfortable, want to be calm. I try to keep my margins favorable. So I just get something cheap at the airport, something like McDonald's, Burger King, just a quick little snack, because we're just going to be flying for a couple hours. We'll be done. Maybe eat at home before you go, something like that. Again, trying to keep the numbers low. I myself have also had, overpriced drink at an airport before. It's totally been me, and that's you living your best life. Go ahead. But also, remember, you're going to probably spend a lot of money at the place you're going. You're probably going to spend a lot of money doing things out there, and you probably shouldn't burn, $80 at the airport, when you're probably going to, you could burn that $80 at the actual event doing the things with the people that you're trying to meet. So, if budget's an issue, or you're trying to, save costs, the airport's a good place for you to avoid throwing a bunch of money at. Okay, now, when it comes to arriving there, again, or when it comes to booking the flight, really, you want to think about where you're going, where you're staying, and how far when you want to land, so that way you can kind of match up with the hotel or Airbnb. So that's one thing that's always, kind of been an issue, and I don't think it's a great way to solve it, but usually check-in time is around between 11 a.m. in the early and 2 p.m. on the latest for hotels. And Airbnbs are kind of the same. They fluctuate a little bit differently as well, but it's around the same rule. And what's a little bit not disturbing, but kind of annoying about that is that, do you want to try to plan your flight so you land and just go? Do you want to get there early and have the day for yourself, and then you just check in? And it never kind of matches perfectly what we want, especially with the way the flights are organized. It's not like a bus where there's one every 10-15 minutes. Flights, you might not have many options. You might have an option where it'll get you there at 9 a.m. or it'll get you there at 3 p.m. and those are kind of your only options. And then it becomes, well, what kind of person are you? Are you a person who wants the hotel waiting for you and you kind of burn that day? Or are you a person who wants to take advantage of all the days you're there and you get there a little early and, hey, maybe you don't have a place to stay? That's another reason why traveling light's good, because then you can keep your backpack, you can keep your small personal briefcase or small bag with you, and it's not that cumbersome. If you're staying at a hotel and maybe there's a little bit of an hour or two gap, maybe call the hotel. Sometimes when you call the hotel and you're nice about it, say, I'm there for 3 days, 4 days, what have you. Can I please, can you hold my bags for an extra hour or two because I can't check in? And sometimes they'll either say yes, or if you're really lucky, they'll say, actually, your room's already ready. You can just check in now. That's still rare. The bag thing's more popular, but I know many places that have let me check my bag in early, and a few places even let you check in early if they're already prepared. They don't really worry if it's like an hour difference. So maybe it'd be good for you to call once you land, tell them that you're already there and what your situation is, and say that you're okay waiting, but if they can help you out, that would be great. Okay, now my final, or one of my other tips is make sure that you, something you should always have is like your personal hygiene products, the ones that you really want. Make sure you should probably buy your toothpaste prior, probably buy your toothbrush prior, like just little travel things, because it starts to add up. And next thing you know, you start running errands when you're supposed to be on a business trip. Now you're running to a Target to get soap, and you're running to a Target to get, deodorant and get toothpaste, and you need some water, and it starts to become you just running errands in a new city, and that's probably not what you want to do. So think about the things that are absolutely essential and make sure you have travel size portions of that ready to go, or kind of see the layout of the land depending on where you're arriving. Maybe there's already a place that's really convenient, maybe a block or two away, and you can just make that quick stop, get everything. You should either have a physical checklist or a mental checklist. Okay, this is the things that I need to feel comfortable. I need to feel like a human, like I'm prepared, like I'm clean, like I'm comfortable. And make sure that you have those things on hand, either with you or a place to buy them. So being prepared for a business trip is absolutely vital. You need to know where the places are that you need to go. You need to know the things you need to kind of feel like you can work in the same environment that you normally work in, so you can have a good and successful trip. Okay, and my final tip here is make sure that you don't forget why you're there. You're on this business trip for business. You're here to make connections. You're here to enhance your education. Maybe here to rekindle your passion or reinvigorate yourself with the people in your industry that help inspire you and motivate you. Those are all different factors that are at play when you are on a business trip. So just keep that in mind. I've known people and seen people who they get there and let's say, it's Las Vegas, and next thing you know, they had a few too many drinks and they show up late to the conference or the expo. They don't really meet up with people as much as they thought they were going to because, they were hungover or they overslept or they wanted to see the museum or whatever. And next thing you know, you kind of were just on vacation. And, if you want to go on to Vegas or LA or San Francisco on your own time, that's wonderful. But keep in mind, yes, you can have some fun. I'm not saying you can't have fun and enjoy it. And there's a reason why those kind of events happen in cool cities, because they know people are intrigued by that. But remember, you're still there to do work. Make sure you do and set all your goals and you actually accomplish them. Meet with the people, go to the events you're supposed to go to. Make sure you're making the trip worthwhile. And then yes, once activities are done, of course there will be some leisurely time. We all know there'll be some downtime where you can, have a drink and enjoy and maybe turn off the business mode a little bit and just enjoy the sights that are around the experience and around the conference. But remember, you're still there for business, you're still there for work. Hopefully some of these tips help you prepare yourself so you can have a good business trip and you can come back rejuvenated, energized, and with a little bit more opportunity in your hand. So that's it for now. Please like this video, subscribe, maybe leave a comment below if you have some ideas that can kind of some like essential tips for when on a business trip, and I'll talk to you guys next time. All right.